Hi, my name is Sam, and I want to wish you a happy new year. This is the first in a series of video podcasts we're going to be doing from our ministry, and our ministry is called Force Anthropos, and the mission of our ministry is to illuminate people's hearts by giving them meaning. So we are illuminating hearts with meaning, and like I said, this is the first of many short videos we're going to be doing, and the essence of this first series is to talk about the source of human value. Where does the worth of a person come? What is the value of a human being? And we hope you're going to be blessed. And I think it's really good that we're having this at the beginning of the year to help you put certain things in perspective as you begin the year, right? Okay, so whether you're a Christian or not, I want you to just follow me, please. Now, in Luke chapter 12, verse 15, Jesus says something. He says, "Beware of covetousness. The life of a man is not in the abundance of the things that he possesses." That's a person's life, the worth of a person, the value of a person doesn't come from how much material things the person has, doesn't come from how much fame, money, houses, and all those things. So really, what is the value of a person? Where does it come from, right? So I want you to follow me. I want to take it from the ground up. I want to build it from the foundation up so that we can have a very coherent and corroborative outlook, right? Okay, now see. Have you ever thought about where the rights of a person comes from? Where does the rights of a person, say the person has a right to do something, the person has human rights, and whatever I could think of rights, where does it come from, right? Okay, so let me show you. My pastor lives in a very nice estate, and every time we go to the estate to see him, a security guard stops us at the gate of the estate and asks us to call someone. He can decide to search the car and all that. I'm sure you can relate with that. Now, this security guard might not have a medical degree like I do, probably doesn't have the kind of car that I do, it's probably on minimum wage, but at that time, he can tell me to do things and I have to comply. So he has a right to do certain things at that time. And this says a lot. It's a good way of explaining it. The CEO of a company has the right to fire and to hire staff because it is his job. It is his or her responsibility to make sure the company works. You get that? A parent has the right to discipline their child because it is the responsibility of the parent to take care of the child and to make sure that the child is raised right, so to speak. So the rights of a person comes from the responsibility, the purpose, or the essence of that person. The rights of a person is given to the person to protect them and to enable them to carry out the functions of their essence. It protects them and enables them to carry out the functions of their essence, so to speak. So when we think of human beings, we know that every human being was created now at very basic level, at the ground level. What is common to all of us is that, like the book of Genesis puts it, every human being was created to be fruitful. Every human being was created to be productive. So every human being, everyone called a Homo sapien, has a potential, has a capacity to be productive on the earth. I'm going to take that again. Every human being has a potential and a capacity to be productive on the earth. So the rights that we all have as human beings comes from that. For example, we talk about the right to free speech. The reason why we can say a person has a right to free speech is because that person has the ability to speak freely your thoughts. The ability to communicate your thoughts freely is very integral to your ability to think right. And if you cannot think, you cannot be productive. So the right to free speech is a right that protects and enables people to be able to think so that they can be productive. You get that, right? We'll talk about freedom of movement. The person has a right to move freely because for you to be productive, you have to be able to move from point A to point B while you're going about things on this planet that we call Earth. So that is where our rights come from. The rights of a person comes from the essence, the purpose, and the capacity for that person to be productive at a particular thing. Now, having understood that, we can also say that the limits of the rights of a person is at the point where they want to do things that will stand against the essence of that purpose. For example, that security guard has the right to stop and search, right? Doesn't matter how much money he has, doesn't matter how much school he went to. But he doesn't have the right to invite armed robbers into the estate to plunder. He doesn't have that right. He has the right to protect, but he doesn't have the right to destroy, because his job is to protect. In the same way, every human being should have a right, or has a right, to everything that will enable them to flourish and be productive. But that right stops at the place where you want to do things or say things that can take away the ability of another person or yourself to flourish. That means you do not really have a right to take the life of another person, because another person needs their life to be productive. You don't really have a right to take your own life, because you have an essence, you have a purpose, you have a responsibility to be productive. So irrespective of race, irrespective of gender, in fact, irrespective of physical handicap, whether a child has Down syndrome, a child is autistic, or a child is normal, whether an adult has some kind of physical handicap, maybe they have a spinal cord injury, whatever it is, irrespective of the kind of handicap a person has, every human being has a capacity to be productive, a capacity that really no other person can tell. Nobody can tell the limits of that capacity, but every human being has that capacity. And that capacity to be productive, that purpose to be productive, that potential to be productive must be protected. We must give the person the rights and privileges that protects them and enables them to live and produce fully all that they were created to be, right? Now, having said that, where does dignity, value, honor comes from? Now let's go back to the example that we used at the beginning. At the point where I am standing before that security guard, where he's at his job post, I have to honor him as the security guy protecting the place. I have to dignify his position. I do not have a job, or he will not allow me to enter. In the same way, our dignity and our value comes from our essence. It does not come from how much money we have. It does not come from how many friends we have. So that means that the dignity that we give to a person must come from their essence, must come from their capacity, not based on material things that we feel about them. The value of a person is not in how much money they have. A place, a society, or a system where we value people based on how much money they have is a society where we have put the ultimate, where the ultimate is money, where we have put the pinnacle of our values, where we have put the pinnacle of our values and our aspirations to be money and material things. That means that every other thing will now become a means to that end, which is money. And that, in my opinion, is the most debilitating disease affecting our culture and our civilization, especially in this part of the world. This value system, where people are not inherently valuable for their capacity, but people are measured by how much money and material things they have, is the primary core of all the things that are plaguing our society. I'm going to go into more of that in future videos later, but this is the purpose of this video for now. What does this mean to you? What am I saying to you? What I am saying to you is that you have value. You have a capacity. People might not be able to tell it, but you do have a capacity. You do have an essence. You do have a purpose. Whether you feel like it or not, whether you are depressed, whether you have a sickness, whether you have some kind of handicap, whether you have a child that has a handicap, it does not matter. Every human being has some value and everybody has some capacity. And so that means that you cannot give up on yourself. You have a right to make yourself flourish. You do not have a right to not make yourself flourish, right? Do you get that? You have a right to maximize your potential, but you do not have a right to end or to kill or cover your potential. You don't have a right to. You have dignity. You are valuable all by yourself. And I hope that in subsequent videos, I will be able to show you how to be the best of who you're meant to be, right? So thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've been built up. Please stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to be talking about how this value system has been a problem and how we can correct it, how this value system results in a lot of other problems and how we can correct it. Please follow me on all the platforms to get updates on more content we're going to be putting out. And also, please tell someone to follow, please share, please invite someone. I think you know someone that would love to hear these things and hope that will be better. So until next time.